everybody, it's Mark from Overlook Valley Homestead again. This is video number 6 in their series on so you want to own cattle, or you want to buy cattle, or whatever it is Sarah decides to name our videos. I'm just trying to give you some thoughts on my opinions on having cattle and raising cattle and what it takes to have cattle, and just to get you ready so that you don't jump into buying cattle blindly and not know what all comes with it. And you know, if someone would have told me all this stuff when I first started, I think it would have made things a lot easier on me. If I had started completely on my own, but I started out on a dairy farm, so I had someone that already knew all the ropes that was showing me around, so it was good information for me to learn, and I think it'll be good information for you. On this video, video number 6, we're going to talk about the cost of raising cattle, and not just cattle, calves, and orphaned calves, calves that you bought at a stockyard, or just baby calves in general. You know, there's going to be some things that you're going to need to buy that are different from the ordinary things that you have raising your cows, such as feeding bottles. If you have an orphan calf and you have to be its mama, because it doesn't have a mama, and you have to feed it milk, you're going to need bottles. You're going to need a bottle for every calf, or I guess you could use the same bottle over and over, but you have to wash it and sanitize it in between each calf, because you do not want to be passing germs from one to the other. The same as with a person. You know, you wouldn't want to use a bottle and then give it to your neighbor. Use the same bottle without washing it. So you want to do the same thing with calves. These bottles are not very expensive. They're about $5 to $7. You can also get what is called a bucket feeder. It's a bucket with the nipple on the bottom of the bucket, and you just pour the milk in a bucket and hang it on the wall and let the calf drink out of it. And that works pretty good too, but some calves won't do that. I have had experience with calves drinking milk straight out of a bucket before, and that worked okay too. But generally, a bottle is what you're going to need to start out with, and you know, these will last a while. You have to replace the nipples. You can buy the nipples for $2 or $3, or just buy a whole nother bottle, whichever you prefer. The bottles will wear out eventually because they get suction and it pulls the sides in, and you know, just over time they will get wore out like anything. Anyways, so that's one of the costs, and like I said, that's not a big cost. But the powdered milk replacer that you have to buy, it can range anywhere from $25 to $80, according to what you want to give your calves for a bag. And the pounds of bags are 25 pounds or 50 pounds, according to what you want to buy when you buy. You know, if you want to buy a little bit and then buy more or whatever. But as a rule of thumb, and like I say, I come from a dairy farm, so on a dairy farm we would feed our calves milk replacer. We would leave the calves with their moms for about 3 days and then pull them off, because on a dairy farm you can't have the calves on the mama and milk the cows too. You got to have all the milk to be going to processing plants to make the milk that you drink, and the cheese and butter and all that stuff. So there 6 weeks. 6 weeks is what we normally feed calves, the bottle. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes it doesn't take quite 6 weeks, but I try my best to make sure that the calf is getting milk on a daily routine. I do twice a day. Some people do 3 times a day. I feed 2 full bottles of milk each day. That's 1 gallon. These are half-gallon bottles. I feed the calf 1 gallon of milk per day. And as they get older, I cut that down and cut it, to 3/4 of a bottle twice a day, and then to half a bottle twice a day, and then pretty much after half a bottle twice a day, I go to half a bottle once a day, and then wean them off. But I won't do that unless the calf is eating hay and eating feed enough to sustain them where they don't need the milk. And they will. You from the time you put a calf in the pen, my opinion, I put feed out the first day that I put a new calf in the pen. They may waste it. I don't put a lot of feed out, just a little, a handful in their trough, just so that they can start to smell it and taste of it and kind of get an idea, hey, this is something for me to eat. And as time goes on, and I change that feed out every couple of days, especially when I see they start messing with it, nibbling on it and stuff, then I'll try to make sure that the feed is fresh. Because feed it get bad if it gets wet. It'll mold, and that's bad for your calves. You don't want them to eat. No cows or calves need to eat anything moldy. Not hay, not feed, not anything. That's bad for them. It can kill them. So that's what I do. Now the cost, I told you on the milk replacer, what I buy is I buy 25-pound bags. They're right around $40 a bag, what I buy. It has, it's medicated, it has some medicine in there to kind of help them along. And it takes me 2 bags of feed, of milk replacer per calf to raise them. Now some people, they feed their calves longer than I do. I feed my calves until they can eat feed and sustain themselves on feed and hay. And that's the way we did it on the dairy where I worked at, and we rarely ever lost a calf. So that worked good for me there, so I feel like that's good enough for me here. But you do what works for you, where you're at. And there is so many things on the internet that you can look up and decide what you want to do about feeding your calves. Once again, when you take on an orphan calf, it's just like having a child. That's your responsibility. 100% of that calf's life relies on what you do. So cleanliness, I can't hardly say that, is something that you want to do all the time. You need to be able to store this dry powdered milk somewhere. I use a 5-gallon bucket with a lid on it. When I open the bag, I pour it in a 5-gallon bucket. That's why I only buy 25-pound bags, because that's what I fit in a 5-gallon bucket. And then I put the lid on it, and that keeps it sealed. I'm very careful to watch my calves when I'm raising them for scours. Sometimes if they're scouring, they're getting too much milk. Sometimes they just scour for no reason. I mean, there's different things, different reasons. There's so many different variables with calves of what can go wrong with them. Normally, the calf rate at raising calves, and this is going to be a hard one. I'm going to tell you this. You ain't going to like this, and I don't either. Probably 50 to 60% of calves that you raise will make it. Probably the other 40% won't make it. And it may not be through any fault of your own. It may just be problems that they had when they were calving. Maybe they were stuck in the birth canal too long, or a whole lot of times it's because people pull the calves off their mama too quick, and they don't get all the colostrum that they need. Cows that doesn't get colostrum, most won't make it. That is like their antivirus for their whole life that they get from their mom that helps carry them through. So that's something that they definitely got to have. You can buy colostrum in a bag and pre-mix it, put it in a bottle, and it works. It does work. But the trick to giving calves colostrum is you only have a limited amount of time that you can do it. For the first 24 hours of their life, you can feed them colostrum and their body will absorb it. After that time, it will not absorb it. It will just go through them, just like the regular feed does. That's just the way life works for them. The very first milk that they get needs to be colostrum, and that really helps them get a good start in life. I personally have not ever seen a calf make it without having the colostrum. I have seen them make it sometime, but then something will get them down and they won't make it. They'll pass. So colostrum's a big thing you want to think about. You got to think about, you're spending all this other money on the farm and taking care of your cows, but it's also your job to take care of calves. Now, sometimes mama cows have calves and they don't have any milk. They can't feed their calf. It may be because of a bad winter and maybe your cows didn't get as much protein as they needed, or there could be many reasons that the cow wouldn't have enough milk. Maybe you got a milk thief out there. Maybe you got a calf that another mama was raising that's stealing the milk from this calf's mama, and that's a whole nother different scenario. That's a calf that needs to go, needs to get out of here, needs to be hamburger meat pretty soon. So, because that is a habit that you cannot break. There are things to detour them. They have these things you put in their nose that when they try to go under the udder, it pushes the teat out of the way so that they can't get milk, and that will work if you catch them quick enough. But if they do it too long, they'll be that way for life, and those are not good cows. So, anyways, that is something you need to think about. Now, there's many medicines that you got to keep on hand at all time because you never know when you need it for all your cattle, and we'll get into that on another video. But there are things that are separate from just owning a cow, like raising an orphan calf, or buying maybe a calf that you bought at the stockyard. That raising calves is great and fun and good for children. I let my grandkids and my kids all raise calves on bottles, and it was great. They all learned something that they could take with them for the rest of their life. And if you asked any of them, they're all glad that they learned that. It's neat. It's I guess a mothering effect maybe that you get from it. Raising that calf, knowing that you're the reason that calf made it, because you did your job. Anyways, this is going to be probably one of the shorter videos, but I wanted to go over that with you. One more thing that I do that I should have probably already said in another video. There's one more thing on your farm that you're going to need, or you're going to need access to, and that's a trailer. You're going to have a trailer to move your cattle from wherever, from your farm. Maybe if you got two different grazing lots and they're not side by side, or to take them to the veterinarian, or to take them to the auction, or to bring them home from the auction, or so that's something that you're probably going to want to own. But I know that like our local co-op has one that they rent out to people. So if you don't have a trailer, don't just let that deter you, because there are other ways. There's plenty of people that haul for hire. You can do it that way, but in the long run, if you own your own, it will be cheaper, because once it's paid for, it's paid for. All right, y'all. Well, y'all look forward to the next video. We got a few more to go in the series, and And I hope this is helping you. If you got any questions or comments, put them below and I'll try to get back to you on them. And I thank you for coming and hanging out here at Overlook Valley Homestead. And God bless you.